Let's start with implementing our dark mode. We can do that by opening our source folder and then creating one more file inside of our utility functions file. Inside of here, we can create a file called toggle color mode.jsx. And inside of there, we can create a React functional component. Inside of here, we can import two things, a theme provider, as well as create theme. And that's coming from add MUI material / styles. At the start, this is going to be a context. So we can say export const color mode context, and that's going to be equal to create context. Of course, this create context is a React utility function, so we can import it from React. Then, inside of our toggle color mode, we're going to accept children as props. This is a default prop that you always get with React functions or components. And inside of here, we're going to have one state, so we can import use state as well. We can create a new use state like this, use state, and let's call it mode and set mode. At the start, it's going to be set as light. Then we can do something like this. Const theme is equal to, and then we can use one more hook, which is called use memo. So right here, after use state, we can import use memo. Now, if we call it as a function, and if we hover over it, you can read what React says about it. Use memo will only recompute the memoized value when one of the dependencies has changed. So basically, it is a function that accepts a callback function, and then as the use effect hook, it also has a dependency array, and it looks like this. Basically, this is going to only change when mode changes. Otherwise, we don't have to change the theme variable. And inside of this function, we don't need to have a function block, so I can delete this, but we can simply have a call to our create theme. Of course, that is coming from Material UI. We can call that as a function and then have an object inside of there. The only thing we need to set is going to be the palette, which is an object, and that's going to be set to mode because we are updating this mode in our state. Now that we have that, we need to wrap everything with our color mode context dot provider. A provider is a built-in component when you create a new context. Then we need to pass some values to it. The values that we pass here we'll be able to use all across our application. And these values are going to be inside of an object, mode, set mode, and then finally one function called toggle color mode. We can create that function toggle color mode right away. Const toggle color mode. That's going to be a basic function. And the only goal it's going to do is it's going to set the mode. So how are we going to set it? Well, we can have a callback function where you get the previous mode. And then in here, we can say if previous mode is triple equal to light, then make the mode equal to dark, else simply set it to light. Great. Now we have our mode, we also have our set mode and toggle color mode. Finally, we have to use our color mode context, and then inside of there, we need to have our theme provider. So this is coming from Material UI, and in there, we have to pass our theme is equal to theme. And then finally, we're going to render the children. That's going to be everything that we pass into this component. Now that we are exporting this component, we can go ahead and use it. And we are using it inside of the index.js. So right inside of here, we can import toggle color mode provider. And that's going to be imported from /utils / toggle color mode. And again, since it's a context or a state or a store or whatever, we need to wrap everything as we usually do. You can notice that we already have a theme provider here, but we don't need to have it here because now we have a real theme provider inside of our toggle color mode. So we can basically delete this and rename it to toggle color mode provider. We also don't need this theme right here because now we're doing this inside of our toggle color mode provider. Great. Just by doing this, now our entire application knows what is the current mode of our application. So the question is, where can we use this? Well, if you think about it, we have our dark and light mode switch inside of our navigation bar. So this is where we can start. We can scroll to the top, and then right here, we can import color mode context, and that's going to be coming from /utils/toggle color mode. We can call that as a context by saying const color mode is equal to use context, and then we provide the color mode context to it. Of course, we have to import use context from React. Now we have access to this special color mode variable, and we can use it right inside of our switch, right inside of here. We can say on click, as we have it already. On click, we simply want to call color mode dot toggle color mode. If you think about it, toggle color mode is something we've already created right inside of here. There we go, toggle color mode. We are exporting it through this context, and then we can use it straight inside of here, color mode dot toggle color mode. Great. So now let's save it and take a look. We are on localhost 3000, and let's try clicking our toggle dark mode button. As soon as I click it, everything turns dark. This is actually looking pretty good. Sometimes I prefer the dark mode, and this is the application that I'm going to definitely use the dark mode with. As you can see, we can toggle it on or off. We get this nice blue color, and when we go dark, the logo changes and everything else changes as well. The only thing that we can notice right off the bat are these icons. They still remain dark. Now I'm going to show you a trick that's going to save us hours of work. You might think that we need to manually add a new version of each image. We need to invert the color, save a new image, and then display a different image depending on the mode. But we can use a neat little CSS property to do all the work for us. Let's go ahead and find those icons. These are going to be inside of the sidebar. And right here, we can see genre icons, which have genre images class name. So if we go to styles, right here, you can see we have genre image, but inside of the sidebar, we called it genre images, plural. So let's just fix that to singular, both here and here. And let me explain this filter. So filter allows you to change an image in a way. You can apply some sort of filter to the image. In this case, the only filter we are applying is invert. Invert 1 actually just inverts the image colors. This is great in theory, but I think we just have one small logical mistake. If we're on dark mode, then we want to change it. So in here, we can say invert, and in this case, we basically don't want to do anything. So instead of using a ternary, we can simply say end. That means that we're going to run this function only if we're on dark mode. Let's go ahead and try it out. Right now, you can see the icons, they are black, and if I click this, they actually turn white. Just one line of CSS saved us a lot of manual work by changing the color of these images. Let's see how our movie information page looks like. There we go. This actually looks really good. These buttons are now light blue. Everything changed successfully. Great. And finally, let's see the cast member. This is also all white with light blue accents. Great. Our entire dark mode now works. Let's check the My Movies section, and this is looking great as well. Let's try switching back to our light mode, and there we go. Again, this is just a personal preference. Some people prefer light, some people prefer dark, and who are we to judge? We as developers can just give them the option and then users can choose which one to use. With that said, we've just implemented the dark mode. And the reason why this was so easy, because we're using Material UI. We're using all of their components, so they did most of the work for us. They are the ones handling the theme, and as soon as the theme changes, they also change the typography components, buttons, and everything else. With that said, most of the application functionalities are done. But there is one extremely exciting thing left to do, and that is implementing the Alan AI voice functionalities. We're going to do that right now.